Traders, how you doing? Tom Willard with Tom Willard Trading. Thanks for tuning in. Let's talk about the market and some top ideas I got coming up for you longer-term traders, stuff I'm trading, and we'll revisit some of the ideas from the last video I put out in early April. SPYs right here, the SPY weekly chart, daily chart, 60-minute chart, and 15-minute chart here. So we are still in an uptrend on the daily chart. You'll see here, let me draw this out a little bit for you. Or drag it out. You'll see the action here, the higher lows and the higher highs off this move down. And you'll notice on the bigger time frame on the weekly here that this whole from early January, February of 18, we had some pretty violent action, right? Where we went up and then we came down hard, and we've been kind of recovering from these two down moves. But notice the higher low here and our attempt to go back up. Right now is still all systems go for the long side. Keep in mind, like I always talk, you got to have stops for any particular trades that you enter. Okay, QQQ, same type of thing. Not quite as well. A couple things. It's actually stronger. Can you see how we've made a new high here recently in the QQQ, whereas in the SPYs and the diamonds, which is the S&P 500 tracking ETF here, the SPY, and then the DIE, which is the Dow Jones here, notice that they were nowhere near the highs made in early 2018. So going back to the Qs, technology definitely is leading in general. This index is up higher to new highs. It's just kind of just waving through here at these highs. You'll see the moving average here. It's kind of riding that on the way up, and on the smaller time frame period, the 20 period, and then on the 40 period here, it's just below. Here we got these pretty much parallel lines trending up nicely even through this violent move down. Now look at the SPYs. You'll notice that the moving averages here didn't really get impacted either on the longer term. However, here they crossed over and back and forth. So to put it in a nutshell, I'm still leaning long on everything. Got have some short positions obviously in place where it makes sense, and also trading with stops in particular support areas, knowing where if they break support, I want to get out. So let's talk about some specific examples. First, let's revisit a couple from last time. 3D. Now I'm in 3D. This one I talked about in April. And what it did was it popped up, and it came down here really hard. Let me pull the daily chart out. And here was the pullback. Got in here, it came down. When it took out my stop here, let me draw a line here for you. Okay, you'll see here this pivot, right? Right after I entered here, my stop was right under this line. Okay, and it came up and it came down, and here on this day you see it broke that line, and my stop was triggered. Okay, out, moved on, but kept an eye on this thing. Then this thing went down, flushed out here. Notice the big volume bar here, okay, as it took out this support area. All right, let me see if I can get it a little bit bigger so you can see a little bit more. Came down all the way to here, had a flush out, and then when it moved back up here in volume, okay, I got really interested again. It came up, and it says it put a double top in, gave you a nice little pullback handle here, re-entry right here, okay, and still in this position. Nice move up. It's holding here at highs, and I think in the longer term, I'm going to look to add to the position again if it gives me a setup. But right now, you'll see all that little blip was a little pullback here with a nice buy on a weekly chart on the moving averages crossing over. Okay, we're approaching this 200-day though, which could be resistance. Obviously, if we get a nice quick move up to 18, I'll probably take profits on a portion of my position, half, 2/3. Okay, and hold some to look for another setup to get on, because I think longer term, as long as the market stays healthy, I think this one's going to go higher. I think it's reversing trend. It's an early uptrend that's starting here, which is the best time to get in. Those of you that were watching about Boyd last time, let me bring Boyd out here on the daily chart. Mentioned here on this pullback on the daily chart, buying it long here at 32 and change, and you'll notice the pullback here in between the moving averages on the weekly chart. Buy right in here. Up about $4 per share on this thing. It approached these highs. Okay, it might set up again here. You'll see another pullback here, possibly setting up for a way to add to my position. But I'm in this one, riding it higher. So Boyd Game is another one I mentioned in the last video that's working out really well. Another one I want to share with you is Kohl's, which I bought, but I talked about last time. It was toward the end of my video. If you watched it, I was talking that I didn't ever see myself ever buying stock in this company, but the charts were telling me something different. And you'll notice here, really, there's a really good lesson in this. You'll see on the daily chart, it was coming along, toiling along, and then all of a sudden we had this day. Look at the volume here that spiked on that day. That was my sign to buy in. Well, actually, that was my sign to give me to watch this, to pay attention very closely. And when it reversed and went up like this, that's when I got in. So you'll notice that what that looks like here is right here. Okay? Pulled back, came down hard, tested this area. Notice it did not take out this area. It showed support here, went pop right back up, and then came down hard one more time. Tried to come down, couldn't quite get there. Couldn't even look at the higher low. Okay, and when it couldn't make a lower low and it started moving back up, buy right there. Beautiful move up. It went from 66 to 80 in a matter of like 7 days, and it's pulled back. Okay, now watching this, obviously took some profits on the nice move up. You can see it on if you run a trail stop type system, you look at go ups here, your topping tail at 80 comes down hard, take some profits on this here. Okay, not all the position, totally up to your plan. But for me, I don't take full profits. I'll take partial profits. Comes back, look to get in again. This was still at this point. This little pullback here is buyable right here with a stop here, but it's risky because you can see how extended up it was on the weekly chart. So I didn't buy that here. And what I'm actually doing is looking to sell another lot if it breaks below this. Oops, let me see here. The low, which is going to be $72.25. Okay. So that is going to be a line in the sand with regards to the next stop on another position. But if it holds up and it sets up again, then I'd buy back in. But right now this thing looks higher. Coles looks strong, but again, it's topped out. It's gone up quite a bit already. I'm not into my position right now, but looking for the opportunity to do so, and also looking to take another piece of the profits out off this gorgeous move in really very little time. Okay, now I want to talk about gold here. Remember I talked about in the last video how a larger kind of cup with handle is forming? And I really wanted to get this over 130. And this is a perfect example of why you don't anticipate. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, you have a line in the sand on when you're going to get in, and you don't anticipate. It never hit. It never triggered. You see the high here is 129.52. The high here is 129.47. So it missed this new high by a few cents. Typically, I ask for it to go to 130. Now you'll see that here we got a little bit of resistance up there, just above 130 here back over here in this July of 16. Okay, but it didn't get to my trigger, so it didn't trigger, and it came down here, and now it's come back down. It's now going to test this. It's still making higher lows. Here, 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 here. Okay, with some little pivots in between, but nonetheless generally higher lows. The question for gold is, can it hold this low at 117.40? And you'll see the flat 200-day is right there too. So I'm not interested in this right now, but I'm watching it. If it comes down to 117 and change, or wherever the 200-day is when it gets down there, in relation to this pivot support point low, and how it behaves, if it can bounce or make a higher low, I might be interested in it again, but really want it to get up to 130 set up and break above that. Finally, this LRAD, I tweeted about this, and remember, from going back from the last few videos that I posted, it's a very thin issue. Okay, it doesn't trade a lot of volume, so trade it wise. If you trade it at all, trade it wisely. Do not buy massive amounts of shares, would be my suggestion, because it is thin. You can get clipped. Now you can see this thing move quite a bit, and you're talking about a $1, $2 stock. So it doesn't take a lot of money to invest in this thing. But nonetheless, it is thin, so I'd be careful. Now, I'm fully loaded on this thing. Okay, I'm in it, and I'm watching. It's been a beautiful move off this low. You can see the double bottom here on the weekly chart, and it just exploded in volume. And the volume has been really, really fantastic off this move up. Okay, not it's spotty, but the amount of volume hitting on these green bars moving up, right up to 52-week highs. 258 was the high. I think we broke it by a penny on Friday. This thing is fantastic. Now, like I said, I own it already. I'm not adding to the position here. However, what I'm looking for now, and this is not, do not buy this if it breaks above 260, would be my suggestion at this point. If you're not already in, okay, don't be buying this because it's extended. It's pretty much moved from 195 to 256, 260 in 3, 6, 9, 12 trading sessions. 2 weeks. It's moved up like that. Okay, if you buy it here, where are you going to put your stop? If you put it way down here, your reward to risk for the move is not going to be very handsome. And also, if you put a stop in at 250 or 230, the chances of you getting clipped, because this thing is so thin, it trades erratically. It could easily go down to 190 again, then go. It's that sporadic and crazy. So when you trade these thinner issues, you've got to have looser stops. If you have looser stops, that means you got to get bigger targets to make those looser stops worthwhile. So therein lies the problem with entering this. Now, if it sets up, if it gives me a nice base, maybe 2, 3, 12 to 15 trading sessions where I can sit here between 250, 260, 240, and act in a real low volume controlled manner, especially if the market takes a little bit of dive and it shows relative strength, I'd be looking to add to my position. But I think this thing goes higher. Initial target, as mentioned, here's the monthly chart. Initial target will be $3 a share off this pivot here, 3 to 320, and then ultimately going for the 380 mark, and then beyond if it can go past there. I think this is going to start a new uptrend. I think it can go quite a bit, but we'll see. And obviously you got stops in, hopefully, to manage your position. Scientific Games, another one in the Boyd Gaming, in the same sector as Boyd Gaming, which is one I'm in. Love this. New highs, pulling back. I actually nibbled into this at 54 off this drain out, but you can see it drained out again, which is fine. I took a small position in it here, and at this point it's at support. You'll see minor support right in this area here. I think this is a solid look to entertain a buy in this area here. Ideally, you'd like to see a setup. You'd like to see maybe a green bar setup here, volume really pick up, and then look to reverse, and then I'd look to buy into my second lot of this. But it's coming down nicely. Ultimately, you know, your hard line in the sand, your stop is going to be right around $40 a share. You'll see where these bottoms are here. Okay, you've got a little bit of a pivot on the daily here at 48. That can be more of a tighter stop, okay, with regards to shorter term time frames. If this thing comes down to 48, watch how it behaves. If it takes it out and reverses, that's another place where I'll be looking to add to the position. But Scientific Games is very interesting to me and should be watched. This TERP is interesting. Weekly chart, you'll see the big volume up here comes down, settles in, bottoms, higher low, basing along here, trying to bounce. Notice the volume here that came in on Friday off this move. I'd love to see a base here a little bit longer, a breakout over 12. I would not get in prior to that. Wait for it to break above these highs here, and then I think it could run pretty smoothly to 14 and beyond. But TERP is another one I'm entertaining entering a position on. Vishay Intertechnology, I believe is the name of the company, VSH. This one I actually traded previous videos, older videos I talked about, owning in here, selling it, making a nice profit, and then it got hammered. After I was out, thank God, came back up, and this one kind of went off my radar. But then as I was scanning on my weekend scans, I just found this again. Notice the stair step here, beautiful. Up, up, big volume, beautiful flag or base off this high, right? New high, looking at a 2-week base. A breakout over 25 looks quite tasty here with a stop below these lows. So around 23.50, 23.25, 23 even. That's what I'm entertaining there. Vishay is definitely worth watching for your long ideas. Twitter's been an amazing run here. I own this. I got into it here at 30 off this pullback, off this really strong move up, and it pulled back in this area. Been riding it, holding all my shares. Haven't sold a lick of it. It's been a really nice run, and I'm still not selling any of it. What I'm actually looking to do is add to the position. So it's hanging out here in the 45 range. You'll notice it's kind of basing. I'd love to see maybe another 5 trading sessions in this area. Volume drying up. Okay, let this kind of settle in, catch up a little bit to the moving averages, and then looking to buy a breakout above the highs with a stop below the lows on this for Twitter. Couple short ideas to watch. Starbucks here. Look at the monthly chart on Starbucks. This thing has been in a range 55 to 65 since July of 20. What is that? Is that 2015? Yeah, July of 2015. It's been in this range. Setting in solid lows here, highs 55, and it just broke through on volume to the downside. Very scary for this thing if you are a long holder. If you hold this long still, I would consider getting out. I'm looking to short this thing. You've got a nice move down here or up there so that you've got a pretty good ability for this stock to move down. If you look here, big red bar off this gap down, massive down day, 2 in a row, and you got an inside bar here, which is, you know, it's just churning. It's just digesting this move. But I'm watching this for a short opportunity. I'm not short in it. I'm looking for it. I'd like to see a longer base here, maybe a flag. to trade to the downside, because I think especially if things roll over in the market, this one could be a solid mover to the downside. So Starbucks I'm watching is a short. Skyworks Solutions is another one. You've got lower highs, lower lows. You got a nice retracement up here. You've got this bar here under these lows around $98 a share with a stop over about 104 and change here. So a short there looks viable on Skyworks if you're looking at it and you're bearish on the market. And then the last one I got is Ambarella. Weekly chart came up. It's back down here near support. So you can see it's flagging. It gapped down and it's been basically digesting this and it's been flagging back up, giving you an area for a stop. A break below, I would short it below the lows. You could short it below this trend line here, maybe around 42.50-ish. But the safer entry is down at $42 a share below that, and try to catch a move. Now, it is a little dangerous. There is a V-bottom support area here right around $41 a share, but you've got basically you got a minor pivot here with a solid stop you can use. If this tail ends up being the most recent high when it triggers, that would be my stop area for this thing for a move lower. All right, guys, hope you found this video useful, and I hope you trade well. I will look to post again. Earnings season starts in a few weeks, second week of July-ish, so be aware. As always, if you're trading names, you should always know when your companies that you own report, because, as you know, that stocks can move quite a bit, and so you can figure out your position size going into those reports, and if you need to do any changes. But still a few weeks out, so trade well. Any questions, hit me up, tom@tomwillardtrading.com, or comment on the video. See you next time.